You're listening to Your Magical Midlife. This podcast is for women who are seekers, dreamers, and out-of-the-box thinkers. If you're a Gen X woman who never quite fit in, and probably never will, listen up. I'm Kate Higgins, your host. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and coach, and I'm here to guide you through the expansive, exhilarating, and sometimes exhausting crossroads that we find ourselves in at midlife. Whether you're a seasoned listener or just joining the adventure, think of this podcast as your hot pink convertible cruising down the highway of change. Together we'll navigate the sometimes baffling backroads of midlife and collect all the cool souvenirs along the way. Get in and buckle up. Our map may have flown out the window miles ago, but that doesn't mean we aren't going to have a blast. Let's hit the road and discover the magic just around the bend. Gratitude has become one of those really ubiquitous concepts. It's literally everywhere. It's in every wellness program. It's in every New Age philosophy. It's in every yoga practice. It's embroidered on pillows in the clearance section of home goods. But when you really examine the concept of gratitude, it's a mind-blowing and life-changing practice. I've been doing a consistent gratitude practice for over a decade. And while it's shifted and morphed, and I've shifted and morphed, I think gratitude is one of the most transformative practices that you can develop for yourself if you want to be happy, if you want to feel better. I'm grateful for so many things in my life. My life is really, really good. And I say that with the caveat of my life is really, really good, and it's nothing like what I expected it to be. And my life is really, really good, and this year has been incredibly difficult. My dad died almost 2 months ago, 7 weeks ago. And we had a really complicated and difficult relationship, and I had to do a lot of caretaking for him in the last 4 years of his life after my mother died. My dad, and I hate to say this because it's never nice to speak ill of the dead, but my dad was a very damaged and selfish person. He was incredibly self-absorbed. He placed all points of focus back to himself, really interested in being a father, being involved, being a parent, not for me at all, and a little bit more for my brother, because I think he really was mildly excited about having a boy. So we had a very strained relationship, and I pushed very, very hard against him, trying to make him see me, trying to make him recognize me, trying to make him engage with me, and I just really couldn't, because I really do think I'd had so much childhood trauma and possibly some level of what we now call autism. And my dad just really had a hard time connecting to people, and probably would have even with the best childhood. And he really had a shit childhood, objectively. Both his parents died before he was 17. He was partially raised by an aunt who wasn't all that interested in being a parent, and that was kind of foisted on her. And he was angry, and he was bitter, and he was fixated on not having parents until the very last weeks of his life. I can say all those things and say that I'm incredibly fortunate for all that 2024 brought me. Being with my dad while he was dying gave me a sense of peace and closure and compassion for him that I didn't even know that I could experience. As I sat with him in hospice, and while he went in and out of consciousness, I had a really long time to reflect on what was my part, what was his part, what was our shared part, and what was just what happened. And I feel really at peace with it now. And I'm starting to feel at peace with all the parts of my life that I'm not quite satisfied with. I live in a beautiful home. It's a modest home, but it's a beautiful home. It's a home I can afford. It's a home that I was able to buy at a low interest rate with my social worker salary, and I'm incredibly grateful for it. The house needs renovations, but I'm incredibly grateful for it. The house needs some roof repairs, and I'm still incredibly grateful for it. My partnership is wonderful and strange and doesn't make a lot of sense to other people. And I don't like to go into it too much in this podcast because it's private. But I am incredibly grateful for the person I live with, the person who cares for me, the person who loves me, the person who sees me, who really, really sees me, who really knows me as no one else does. And I'm incredibly grateful for him, even if it's not always the way I wished it was. I'm still incredibly grateful for him. I'm incredibly grateful for the work I get to do, even though right now, today, it's not exactly the way I wished it would be. I don't have as many coaching clients as I would like to. I have mostly therapy clients. I'm working with insurances. It's not great, but I'm getting to work with and getting to know people from all walks of life. People are entrusting me with their most intimate secrets, their struggles, their problems. And I'm so incredibly grateful to be able to witness and help people in a way I haven't been able to really do previously in my career. Something to be incredibly grateful for is that I get to do work that is satisfying, that is rewarding, that is enriching. And I know by the fact that I'm able to do that work that I can really step in 2025 and do the kind of work I really, really want to be doing if I can get out of my own way and step out of my own fear, which is really what's holding me back. I'm incredibly grateful that my house was minimally damaged by 2 hurricanes that hit my city this year. I'm grateful that we didn't have any structural damage. We didn't lose any windows. We had a little bit of roof damage, but nothing terrible. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful that I managed to drive all over the eastern seaboard this year safely in many unfamiliar rental cars. I'm grateful that my health is good, that my health has recovered from being sick a couple of years ago. I am now healthy and well and strong and back to taking really good care of myself and back to walking every day, and I am incredibly grateful for that. So what you can tell by this episode, and you probably hear a plane flying over because I am recording this sitting in the middle of my pool. You can hear my little foot splashes. I'm really, really lucky. I have a private pool that's completely walled off. It's insane that this house was as inexpensive as it is with a private courtyard pool. It is the most delightful thing. And the reason why I'm telling you all this is not to brag about how amazing my life is, but to show you that even when things are not ideal, even when things are difficult, for example, this delightful pool is 40 years old. It's original to the house. And at some point next year, I'm going to have it emptied, scraped, and relined, and that's going to cost me a small fortune, likely. But I can take a home equity loan. I know I can do that. I know I can figure it out. And I know that I can always do something to make my life better. So the reason why I'm telling you all these things is to remind you that even when things in your life are difficult, even when things in your life are not ideal, even when things in your life are not exactly how you wished them to be, exactly how you pictured in your head, there is still so much to cherish. There is still so much to value. There is still so much to be grateful for. So, I'm recording this on Thanksgiving Eve. I meant to record this many times earlier in the week, and I just didn't get to it. I was busy. I was tired. I'm managing my dad's estate. I'm making phone calls to the banks. I'm trying to get his bank account settled. I'm trying to get all his credit cards lined up, paid off. I'm trying to get all his medical bills paid off. So it just fell by the wayside. and that's okay. I'm grateful that I can be easier on myself than I've been in the past. I'm grateful that I can have self-compassion and self-forgiveness. I'm grateful that tomorrow I'm going to have the mellowest Thanksgiving that I have ever had. I'm going to just hang out with my friend, my partner, my love. We're going to cook a simple meal. We're going to float in the pool. We're going to watch Silo, which has been released, and we're a big fan. The second season of Silo has been released. I'm super excited. I'm going to lounge. I'm going to walk. I'm going to sit in the sunshine. It's going to be a beautiful day. It's going to be a thankful Thanksgiving. And I hope that you also have a beautiful Thanksgiving. Have a great week. Next week, I'll be back with another amazing interview. Thank you so much for listening to Your Magical Midlife. I'm Kate Higgins, your host. You can follow me on Instagram at Your Magical Midlife. You can also check out my offerings on my website, which is www.yourmagicalmidlife.com. I offer individualized coaching for women 45 plus who are seekers, dreamers, and out-of-box thinkers. I also offer luxury retreats that include ritual, rites of passage, and ceremony for women 45 and beyond. I'd be so excited to work with you. Also, if you're feeling kind and you've enjoyed this episode, please leave me a 5-star review as it opens this podcast to a broader audience and keeps me in those pesky algorithms. Thank you so much for your partnership with me. I appreciate you. Have a great week.